Hi friends, today I have a story for you from the book of Jonah. Jonah is in the Old Testament. We are still in the season of Easter, but since Stephen is preaching on Jonah, I thought we would share this story today as well. You can find Jonah in the Old Testament. It is a short book. It's all by itself, and you could read it all at once. It's only 4 chapters. So I encourage you to listen and then wonder. And then if you're a good reader, maybe you could read this story with your mom and your dad. Let's get ready. The word of the Lord came to Jonah and said, Jonah, go to Nineveh, to that great city, and tell the people they are acting badly and they need to change and to become good. Now, a prophet is somebody who comes so close to God, and God comes so close to them that they hear the word of the Lord and then they do it. But Jonah did not do it. He found a boat that was going to Tarshish, and he got on it and went far away. Tarshish was in Spain, and it was about as far from Nineveh as you could get. And as the boat was sailing, suddenly a storm came up. And the waves grew higher and higher, and the boat was rocking, and even the sailors were afraid. Now, a prophet is somebody who comes so close to God that they help people when they're afraid, and they know just the right thing to do. But Jonah wasn't helping. He was down in the bottom of the boat asleep. And when the captain of the boat commanded him to come up, Jonah came up on deck, but he still didn't say anything. A prophet is someone who can speak for the one true God. But Jonah did not say anything. Finally, when the sailors asked him who he was and who he worshipped, he said that he worshipped the God who made the sea and the sky. And then they knew. They knew that he was running from God. And they said to him, what do we have to do to make this storm go away? And Jonah said, throw me in. And so they did. They threw Jonah into the water, and immediately the water became still. Everything was calm and still. Now, a prophet is someone who leads people to God. Jonah didn't say anything, but when the water became still, the sailors worshipped the one true God. And they went on their way. Now, a prophet is someone who is close to God, and a false prophet is someone who's really far from God. But when Jonah was in the middle of that water, well, he was neither. He was just sinking. And so God sent along a big fish. And the fish came and he scooped Jonah up and he swam in the water. And for 3 days and 3 nights, Jonah was in the belly of that fish. And finally, Jonah got perspective, and he began to pray. And he remembered who God was, and he remembered who he was. And as he prayed, the fish kept swimming, and the fish felt sicker and sicker. And finally, the fish spit Jonah up on the dry land and swam away. Now the word of the Lord came to Jonah a second time. Jonah, go to Nineveh, go to that great city and tell them that they are behaving badly and they need to change and become good. This time, Jonah went. He went to the city and he told the people that God wanted them to change their ways and to become good. And the thing is, the people listened, and they changed, and they put on mourning clothes, and they repented. They said they were sorry, and they changed their ways. Now, a prophet is someone who is delighted when people who are far from God come close, when people who are behaving badly change and become good. But Jonah just got angry. And he went far from the city and sulked. He was so angry, he said, that he could die. And God, in God's kindness, sent a plant to Jonah. And the plant grew up and gave Jonah shade. But then after a time, God sent a worm, and the worm withered the plant, and it died. And Jonah became even more angry. And God said to Jonah, why are you so angry about the plant? You didn't care for it, or grow it, or plant it. Why were you angry about the plant? And shouldn't I have pity on that great city Nineveh, with over 120,000 people and all of their animals? And that is where the story ends. In the Bible, it just ends right there. Now I wonder what Jonah does next. I wonder if he gains a good perspective, and if he listens again to the voice of the Lord and goes back to the city. I wonder if he worships God and thanks him. I wonder what happened to all those sailors. And I wonder what the people in Nineveh do. Do they come and help Jonah? And the big fish, who is God's creature. I wonder about him too. Prophets are people who come so close to God, and God comes so close to them that they hear God's voice clearly. I wonder what happens next to Jonah.